How's it going, everyone? It's Adam from Life of Adam, and today I'm back with a brand new lifeguarding video. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down everything you need to know about the water rescues portion of the lifeguarding course. I made a video about this in the past, maybe about like 3 years ago, and it did really well. So I'm going to give you guys an up-to-date version so that you'll have no issues and you'll pass very easily. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, I make a bunch of lifeguarding content, basically everything you know about passing the course, passing the pre-test, becoming a lifeguard. So definitely consider subscribing and liking the video if you're new to the channel, and also it'll help my videos reach more people to help them become lifeguards as well. So now the water rescues portion of the lifeguarding course, this is like the middle part. So this is like all those days, all those long hours that you're in the pool. It's actually not that long, but you're in the pool, you're doing all these different rescues for the first time, you're in a group, and you're practicing it until you get it down. Now, my first tip for you guys is to do breaststroke when you have the tube underneath you and you're approaching a victim. Now, obviously you can do front crawl as well, but what you'll realize is that when you start off, that when you do front crawl, the tube is gonna kind of pop underneath your armpits and kind of slide out. So to avoid that from happening, breaststroke's a lot easier because they're kind of more tucked in, so it's more supported. However, you can go back and forth, implement them kind of both. Like that's what I do. Like I start off with front crawl, and then once I get closer, I switch to breaststroke just because it's more slow and controlled and it's easier. But you can go back and forth. Don't feel like you have to do one thing for every approach. But if you want the easier option, I recommend breaststroke. Now, another really important tip is that when you're working in groups, although everyone wants to be nice and wants to volunteer, you do not want to be the victim first, because the first walkthrough of a certain rescue, for like every rescue, the instructor is going to break down what to do specifically in like slow motion. It's going to take a while. So like when you're volunteering to be the victim first, you're not seeing how it's done. You're just laying there like awkwardly and like trying to look, but like also trying to be a victim. So I recommend, even though it's a nice thing to do, even though a lot of my viewers are great people, you want to be on the outside watching how to do it, and you want to be the rescuer as many times as possible. So you want to be the primary lifeguard, secondary lifeguard, or the third lifeguard over the victim itself. And this definitely applies to later in the course when you're doing backboarding, and backboarding takes forever, and especially when you want to get it down, it takes time to remember what to do, where to move, what straps goes where. So if you're the victim during that, you're gonna be laying there and you're gonna wish that you weren't. So just a little side tip, it's very helpful to be the rescuer versus the victim. Now, another tip is to look at the instructor when you're doing your rescues. Now, I'm not saying you don't look at the victim and you ignore the victim, you just look at the instructor. What I'm saying is, like when you're approaching, or let's say you have the victim, you like hook them, let's say you're doing a rear victim, like active, and you pick them up like this, you wanna look at the instructor who's probably standing outside the pool, and they'll give you a thumbs up and they'll tell you what to do differently. Basically what it is, it's a signal to them is that you want them to check what you're doing, make sure it's right. And if you're in a big class and there's a lot of groups, sometimes the instructor's not gonna give you the thumbs up, and you're gonna think to yourself like, wait a minute, we're moving on, but did I really do this correctly? So you wanna communicate with the instructor, ask questions, ask for their approval, they'll give you the thumbs up. It's not like a test. If you do something wrong, they're gonna tell you like, hey, this arm's supposed to go underneath, the tube is not in the right spot, and you can fix it and you know what you're doing wrong, versus moving on and feeling like, okay, like I'm not sure if I can even do that rescue correctly. Okay, now this is probably the most important tip arguably on my entire channel, and I didn't lead off with this, so if you're still watching, like, good for you guys. When you're doing the water rescues portion of the lifeguarding course, you do a lot of rescues at once. So like, let's say it's like a 4-hour class. You're in the pool for maybe like 3 hours. You're going through all these different rescues. And while you're doing it, yes, you're like focusing on learning the techniques, but you forget about when to use it. So you want to make sure before every single rescue, you have in your mind that, okay, the reason we're doing this rescue is because it's an active victim and it's a front rescue, they're facing me. Or the reason we're doing this is because it's a passive victim, they're below the surface and they're in the deep end. The reason for this is because when you're actually a lifeguard and you're on the stand and you need to make a rescue, you need to figure out, okay, which rescue am I supposed to use? If you just have a bunch of rescues in your head, like, oh, I can do all of them, but I don't know when to use it, that defeats the whole purpose, because at the end of the course, they're gonna kind of give you a situation like, all right, this person hit his head on the diving board, go save them. They're not gonna tell you which rescue to do. They're just gonna say, go save them, and you need to be able to do that. So it makes it a lot easier during these water rescue days that you remember when and why you use each rescue, so that at the very end you kind of break it up and it's easier on you. All right, so that's all I have in this video. I'm gonna link down below the old version as well. I give different tips in this. This is more like up-to-date tips, but they're both really useful hand in hand. So I'll link that down below in the description. Also, definitely like and subscribe to show your support, and if you found this video helpful, or comment down below if you have any questions, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So I'll see you on the next upload. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.